Hello there, this is Heirs to the Kingdom channel, and today's lesson we're in chapter 5 of Matthew. This is a goody one. Goody one. This is the Sermon of the Mount. Pretty much everything after verse 2 is supposed to be in red if you have a normal Bible, which means that this is Jesus speaking directly. There's 48 verses in this, so it's going to be a little bit of a long read and some stuff to stop and talk about. And so we're going to get started right on in here. As I said, it's going to be a lot. Don't want the lesson to take too long. People tend to, their attention span doesn't really last all that long. Start reading too long, they just kind of start. The numbers say that most people just don't like it. So, if you are new to this is a Bible study channel. I'm going through the King James Bible. We went through the Old Testament, and now we're starting the New Testament. So I recommend starting off at Genesis chapter 1 and getting caught up. We went over a lot, and now everything that we talked about in Old Testament is being fortified in New Testament. And there's going to be more stuff in here. And there's going to be hard pills to swallow in this a little bit too. I really wish this was also being red lettering. I was kind of a little disappointed. It's been a while since I've actually been in this DVD Bible, and I forgot that they don't do the red lettering in it. But last lesson, we were already on the birth of Jesus, and then we did John the Baptist came on the scene, and John the Baptist was taken out of the scene, went into prison. And now it's time for the mission of Jesus. Time for his ministry to take place. That was his cue, where he talked about that. So here he is. He's been helping heal people. He's got a whole lot of thousands of people following him. And so he's healed the blind, the lame, the sick, the possessed, all sorts of people. From nations even past Israel. So now he's going to take a spot on top of a mountain, on top of a mountainside area. I can say, well, on the mountain top side, it's actually on top. And I'm going to talk to all these people. So, pretty sure he talked quite loudly so everybody could hear him. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started here. Chapter 5, verse 1. And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he was set, his disciples came unto him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Now, we're going to be going over a lot of blesseds here. If you're these type of people, if this is your lifestyle. But you have to be all of these, not just one of them. And say, well, I'm that, but I'm not the others. That's what he means. He says, blessed are the people that live this way. Because you can't just be poor and getting into heaven. You also have to serve the Lord. You have to try and be in righteousness. But this is talking about poor in spirit first. You got the meek coming up here and stuff like that. And let's continue on here. I did read 3, verse 4. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Yeah, a lot of us have a problem with that one. Being merciful to other people. We end up being a little judgmental instead. Continue on, verse 8. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Now, I'm pretty sure if you've been a Christian for a lot of your life and you've served the Lord and worked in places, like me, I was a mechanic. A lot of my life, I was a mechanic. Maintenance shops is not a place where godly people should be at because of all the vulgarness and lewdness and the activities of how they live. So when you still do your job and live godly and stuff around them, they tend to hate you for it. They're always picking on you about it or trying to get you to slip up or push your buttons so you get mad and say stuff. So, see, you're just like one of us. And, so they can sit there and say, well, you're no better than me. I've heard you say words. I see you get upset. And it's like, yeah, it's not a sin. It's like, but whenever you live that way continually, that's a problem. But when somebody pushes you to that, life gets stressful, injuries, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, and it comes out, that's a different story. But worldly people always want to justify how they live and what they do. And they'll try to bring the righteous down to them. This is why I said before, Jesus came here to separate the godly from the ungodly, because if you want to stay godly, you can't be around the ungodly. They'll bring you down to their level. If you want to be uplifted, you got to be around other people that's going to help uplift you and you uplift them. And as I said, these may be family members. These may be your own children or parents. Let's continue on 13. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its Savior, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. So that's even going to you people wanting to serve God, but then all of a sudden you kind of quit serving God, you quit being savory, you quit being, living a Christian life. So what good are you now? You are at jeopardy of being cast out. So, this is why you always strive for righteousness. And it's very hard in today's world. It's not impossible. You just got to cut a lot of things out of your life. A lot of different music, a lot of lifestyles, a lot of people, a lot of going out to certain places. You just cut it out and stay. I'd rather, it's better for me to stay home and read the Bible than go out there or watch anything on the internet that has anything to do with that type of stuff, because it's just going to pull me away and I want to get closer to God. And I said, you're going to have to make these calls in your life because it's your life. Anyways, continue on 14. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works. So here's these people that says, works don't get you into heaven. I'm like, he's like, you are called to do works. The Bible says you cannot get in by works alone. It's now faith and works. But we're always called to do works. Because if there's no change in you from the world, then were you truly saved? That's when you get that old Sherlock, a clue moment. Let's continue on here. And glorify your Father which is in heaven, of course, and that's why we call him our Heavenly Father. Because Jesus says he's our Father. Honor thy father and thy mother. 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law. Clue right there. He did not destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. So, the law and commandments and statutes are totally different. The law was for the Israelites only. He didn't come to destroy it. He came to fulfill it. It says, okay, the law has served its purpose. It's got us to here, and now we're doing something else. The second covenant. So now we have a new law. But we're always under laws, commandments, and statutes. Verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. So, until all the scriptures of the Hebrew language, the Old Testament, has been fulfilled, it is still it's still into effect. It says Jesus changed some things, but how we are to live, everything from Old Testament still stands. That's what jot or one tittle. That's the looking up of that means that's like the smallest part to the biggest part of the Hebrew language, which was the Old Testament. Well, I'm saying not just Hebrew language was nothing but the Old Testament. I'm just saying that's what he's talking about. Let's continue on here. Verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. And I said, now what commandments are different than the law? Specified right here. The least commandments. So we got the 10 commandments. That's the least ones. There's ones added too. The 10 commandments is just the starting point. But you had commandments and statutes before the 10 commandments, and those still stand as well. All the stuff I was talking about in Old Testament time before Abraham was even born. Before he walked the earth, God had everything he told Adam and Eve. How a woman is to live, how a husband is to live, how a man is to be, how is a woman to be, how children are to be, how you're to be to one another, your kindred, to your brethren, to your neighbors. All this stuff was already fortified well before Abraham was even born. So those things still stand as well. And women hate hearing that they're to desire their husbands, and husbands are rule over them. But, that's what God says. And there's a reason for it. It's because Eve was first to sin. And it says, for man's punishment is to work till the day he dies. He's always to work. Always. Everybody is to work. But since woman sinned first, woman is to have no authority over man. That still stands today, and that's going to be, you're going to find that here in New Testament areas as well. So here, the 10 commandments still stand as well. Let's continue on here. Okay, and shall teach men so. Say, how many times have you heard preachers say that the Old Testament's irrelevant? They're teaching that the least commandments are no longer around. It's okay to break them. So, by this right here, verse 19, saying that they are wrong. So when you go into a church and you hear people talking this way and the leadership of the church talking this way, you need to correct them. If they don't want to be corrected, then you find some other place, because that's not a church of God. That's a church of the world. I'm going to start off here back again. He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. So your righteousness has to be above the hypocrites. The scribes and Pharisees knew the word of God and didn't live by it. So if you know the word of God and don't live by it, Jesus says right here, you're not going to enter the kingdom of heaven. Because you choose the world over God. This is the word of Jesus right here. Verse 21. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause. Like people say, you're not supposed to be angry without a cause. If you cause me to be angry at you, that's totally different. You caused the problem. You're the sinner because you caused the issue. You caused the anger to be riled up. But anyways, shall be in danger of the judgment. See, as Christians, we skip judgment. It ain't that we're better than everyone else. It's just we're saved and we're doing our best to live godly and righteously. Are we going to be perfect at it? No, but these are the things that we're to strive to be. And we're to catch ourselves and try to correct ourselves as much as possible. And we correct each other. That's called in here as well. We've talked about that in the Old Testament. Talking about those, that when you're trying to correct those living wrong, and they, I forgot the exact wording now. But some of you got better memories than me on that. But if they, talk down to you for trying to point out that, hey, they're doing wrong, then it's on them. But if you watch people that are supposed to be godly doing wrong and you don't say nothing, then also their sin could be on you because you're not helping correct them. But let's continue on here. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hell fire. So we're not supposed to call people fools either. Because why? We're all fools, really. We all do foolish things. There's a difference, though, between somebody doing something foolish versus somebody being a fool. Now, I looked up the word Raca, and it's an Aramaic word. And I'm guilty of this a lot. And so, yeah, I have to correct myself now. Raca stands for calling someone empty-headed, blockhead, or worthless fellow. Yeah, I really wish churches would teach that a little bit more. I would like to have known that before I had such a huge way of dealing with things in the world. So yeah, now I got a whole lot of fixing of myself with that. I didn't know what the word Raca meant. Now I do. So, yeah. Isn't it just fun? It's fun finding out the things in the Bible that's like, oh great, I've been doing something wrong all this time thinking I've been doing pretty good. So yeah, can't be calling no one blockhead, bonehead, empty-headed, stupid, moron, worthless, good for nothing. Yeah. But it says, shall be in danger of the council. So, Jesus is saying here, using the term Raca is not as bad as calling someone a fool. It's still wrong, and it's still bad, but not as bad as the other. So yeah, even Jesus says there's some sins worse than the other, but a sin is a sin. Let's continue on 23. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Now, I've talked about this before, about, you can ask God for forgiveness when you sin against God. But when you sin against another person, you're to reconcile with them, even if they don't know that you sinned against them. You go ask for forgiveness. You try to make things right with whom you've wronged. And here it doesn't even say if you wrong them or not. So if there's, it's the part that says thy brother hath aught against you. Has anger against you. You try to reconcile these things. You try to clear the air. You try to fix things. You just don't forget about it and says, well, that's their problem. They deal with it. I didn't do nothing wrong. Well, that's a wrong way of thinking right there. But yeah, let's continue on. That's the whole G.I. Joe stuff here. The more you know, and knowing's half the battle. Learning a lot here. I bet some of you are. Did I just say that like Yoda would? Anyways, verse 25. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. So when you're out and about in public, this, that, and the other, and someone says, hey, you did this, hey, you did that, so, I'm sorry. Don't try to say, well, I didn't do, pretty much God's telling you, cool it quickly, and just avoid the situation. Try to get out of the situation. Says, okay, if that's what you want to call me, this, that, and the other, you just agree to it. Say, it's like, whatever. A lot of people always trying to prove that I didn't do nothing to you. It's like, you just say, well, I did. I'm sorry, and just move on. You just avoid the situation, because it's better to go home to your family than to be cast into prison for some stupid stuff or whatever else because of a bar fight, a fight in the streets happened, or this, that, and the other because your pride got in the way. Continue on 26. Verily I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out thence till thou hast paid the uttermost farthing. Now I will say, kind of changing subject here, I forgot that starting verse 21 is actually the title change, says the new law. So these are the new ways of living and everything else, which of course we already know this, but if you want to kind of go back a little bit and start at 21 and kind of come back forward, or just in your own Bible do that, then now 26 is part about casting to prison, and talking about farthing, paying the very last cent. The uttermost sense, it's like, it'll cost you everything being prideful. And being sent to prison, and pretty much it's going to cost you everything in life. And it's not worth the headache. Sometimes it's better, like we're going to be learning here, about turning the other cheek. It's just whatever and move on. There ain't no sense in making trouble out there in public or trying to defend your honor type stuff, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you're being attacked, that's one thing. But somebody accusing you of something or whatever, that, no big deal, just, okay, if you say so, and move on type thing. That's what it's kind of meaning there. Let's continue on here, 27. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. I was mixing up the last sentence with the middle of the other part there. Sorry. Now here's like saying, why is this more talking towards men? Why was the culture always the woman was at home, in the home, for so many centuries, until feminism came on the scene? Because women are not supposed to be out and about. Women, normally men have the problem with the lustful thoughts far more than women do. But yeah, so as I said before, in Old Testament, most of the Bible is written for men because women have already got their rules. Their rules are to serve their husbands. It's always been that way, always has been that way, and always will be that way, as long as this earth stands. God says in Genesis 2, woman was created to be her husband's helpmate. It never changed. But this rule goes towards women as well, but most of the time, mostly it was nothing but men following Christ at this time. Because as I said, women have their sin nature. They desire to rule and lead and, be in charge of stuff without cause. And men's sin nature is lust. Always has been. It's one of our biggest sin natures. And normally men want money and power because they have lust too, and they can't get the girl until, they have the money and power to attract the girl, stuff of that nature. We're not to godly people don't live that way. Period. And godly women are not going to be out and about doing this type of stuff. But it does go vice versa there. And anyways, verse 29. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. Now, when it says offend thee, that means like, if you have a problem with a body part causing you to sin, it's better for you to cut that body part off and get rid of it. And so the thing is, like, put blinders on if your eyes wander too much. And you just, I got to look at these women out here. I got to look at pornography. There's a naked woman there. I got to look at her. Look at these pictures on the internet. I got to look at them. Look at all these women in G-strings and itsy bitsy teeny weeny bikinis on the beach. I got to look. And no, you stay away from that stuff. Godly women don't dress that way. They, I don't care what they say. That's a bathing suit. That's worldliness. That's pretty provocative. That's showing off your body to people. You're not supposed to do that. Period. It's a sin for you to lust after other women, but if women dress provocatively, causing lustful thoughts, she's guilty of that sin as well. That's another teaching in the Bible. We're going to get to that also. But anyways, let's continue on here, verse 30. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. We talked about this before. Now, if women are doing what they're supposed to be doing, God says you have no right to put her away. But let's continue on here. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery, and whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. Again, ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths. What is the oath? The oath of marriage. This is the oath of anything, but here we're primarily talking about marriage, but also God means all oaths. You make a constitutional oath. You make an oath to the court, or whatever else. You make an oath to your boss, Any and all oaths that you make that does not violate God's word, God holds you to them. So here's another reaffirming of that. But also, you got the marriage oaths. And love, honor, and forsake each other. In sickness and in health, for rich or poor, till death do us part. But Jesus says, if she fornicated, she went and been with another man, then you can divorce her. Yeah. Now, see, it never says that the wife can put away her husband. It only says the husband can put away the wife. As I said, ladies don't like hearing these things, but this is just the way it is. And of course, if you marry a woman that, that has been divorced, you're committing adultery. Why is this important? Now, can a man put away a cantankerous wife, like it says in Old Testament? Yes, he can. Not really full divorcement. He says no. Now, normally they take them back to their parents, says, she ain't living right, she ain't living with me. She's causing problems. So you give them back to whoever's like, you're gonna care for her because I'm not dealing with it. And what it is like, she is to stay single and alone until she starts acting right, then go back and ask for forgiveness. I've talked about this before. And then man says, are you truly sorry? Are you going to be a good wife now? She said, yes. Okay, fine. Come on in. I forgive you. Just as we want Jesus to forgive us when we sin against him, we forgive women that sin against us unless they've been with another man. Now, if while she's being, sent away for being cantankerous, she gets with another man, it's the same thing. She's committed adultery. She's fornicated. Say, here's your divorcement. I'm going on. You're on your own now. And no other man's to have anything to do with her. Why would God do this? Well, it's to tell women, it's like, hey, you are in jeopardy of losing everything for doing stupid stuff, for following the world. It's like, this is your husband, serve him. Put blinders on. Quit looking at worldly things. Quit worrying about what your neighbors say. Don't go to the gossip fence. Don't do this. Don't do that. Stay busy. Idle hands is the devil playground. If you got children at home, you don't need to be handing them off. I'm going to go somewhere and hang out with my friends because this is too hard. No, you deal with your children. And of course, it's going to be hard. Of course, it's going to be this, that. And your day's going to be full all day long. And God says that's a good thing. Why? Because it keeps you busy. When you're busy, you ain't got time to be doing worldly stuff because you're too busy doing family stuff. And that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to make meals from scratch. This is the problem with the Industrial Revolution. We created all these inventions that made women's lives easier, so then they had time to gossip. And that's when we really started having problems. So instead of women taking up, I got this spare time, like we already had, and was it Proverbs 31, where it's talking about then the woman should make fabric and take the fabric and sell it and take the money from that and buy more vineyards for the family. Nope, they just go to the gossip fence. They get on the phone. They get on the internet. They do this, Candy Crush, and all this other Mickey Mouse bull hockey. Anyways, you get the idea. I ain't going to harp on that too much, but as I said, it says it in Old Testament and it says it in New Testament. And it's like it's always been, the rules have always been there. Verse 34, but I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne. So you've got that. If you got one of those bad habits, I swear to God, don't do that. I swear this, or it says better, they say unto you, swear not at all. Don't use the word, I swear. It's, if you've got one of those bad habits, you got to work on that. Anyways, verse 35. Nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. Ye have heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. Now, when it says this smiting means, that it's supposed to be that challenging slap, that little just a back of the fingers thing, not a punch. Not a open hand, like smack as hard as you can stuff. Somebody attacking you. That's not what he's speaking here. This is someone disrespecting you. You just say, fine, you disrespected me, and you just move on. Says, here, you want to disrespect the other side of me too? That's what that's meaning. You're supposed to be better than the worldly people. Don't let them bring you down to their level. You're supposed to try to uplift them, not let them drag you down. Verse 40. And if any man will sue thee at the law, and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. So, they had lawsuits even back in the time of Jesus. And they used the law, they perverted the law to get what they wanted from somebody. It says, you want that? Here, take this as well. Why? Because this is not our home. Now that one, I probably would fail at that, But The simple fact is, if you don't do stuff out there or put yourself in situations to be sued, you don't have to worry about these things. That's why I said, always when you're in public, mind your P's and Q's, this, that, and the other. And so it's better to just not have to deal with this stuff. That's why I've always been worried about these people going out to these leftoid areas and trying to do, their own protest, knowing it's going to cause problems. Like, why are you going to do that? The way God teaches, let them fall, and then be there to help lift them up. So, see, we told you what you're wanting to do doesn't work. Can we help lift you up now? Can we help you out to be better? That's what we are to do. But anyways, it makes good content today so people can make money on the internet instead of having a job or something or whatever else, or extra money, but whatever. Verse 41, and whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. So they say, hey, can you go? Can you help me out for a little bit? I only need help right here. It's like, well, let's double it. Let's come on. I'm with you the whole way. Let's go. It's like, you're only asking me to help you to this point. It says, well, okay, well, you're only halfway home. Let me help you get completely home. We're to help each other. Constantly. Always. Yeah, you're to be the nice guy. And girls are to be godly women. Like I said before, if the woman does not live, dress, and act like Amish or Mennonite type women, don't bother with them. They're going to bring you down. They're going to take you from God instead of help lift you up. I ain't going to say all of them, but the majority. Well over 98% of them. And so, verse 42. Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away. So always help people. If you can help them, help them. If they asking for money, say, well, here, I got $5. Here, take it. I got relatives, they still owe me money, and I don't even ask for it. It's like, whatever. It's on them. They said they'd pay me back. If they don't, it's on them. They're the ones that violate their oath. My job is to help if I can. Let's continue on. 43. Ye have heard that it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. And that was an Old Testament. That part is the law that is now changed. 44. But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and the unjust. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? Publicans were not known as nice people. Kind of like the tax collectors and all these other type of people, people everyone disliked. The wannabe politicians type things, the crooked ones. Verse 47. And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so? But be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. So here in Christ is telling us, be perfect. He knows we're not going to be, but he wants this as a commandment, saying, hey, I know you're not going to be, but you need to keep it in your head that you need to be. Why? That pushes you to be better. It's like we're to be the light to the world. It says this is what godly people are to, how to live and how to be. Come to the light, get out of the darkness. We're supposed to be a light and help bring people out of darkness. If you're in darkness as well, what good is it? You're not helping nobody because you can't even help yourself. So that's kind of the teachings from that area. But yeah, so as you can tell, that is the end of chapter 5. Yeah, that was a lot to read. You're almost at 40 minutes. That's why I went ahead and jump right on in here. Chapter 6 is also a single chapter. It's still in red, Jesus talking. There's only 34 verses there. And it's a continuation to 5. He's still on the mount. But, as I said, I'm only going to do this chapter tonight. So, remember to pray. What do you pray for? Everything. Pray for the lost, the found, yourself, others. Pray for everything, because trust me, you ain't perfect. I ain't either. We're all broken. We're all on the island of misfit toys. And a good person knows it. A person in denial, yeah, it's kind of hard to help them. They have to figure that out. Says, I'm broken. I need help. Then you can help them. But yeah, nothing wrong with being a broken toy. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is thinking you're better than other people. That's when you got that pride going on, this, that, and the other. You don't want to be that way. You know, you may have things in your life in order in one area, but sin in another, and someone else would be vice versa. They got, what your stronghold of a sin is a weak hold of them, and they don't have no problem with that. But what you have is not a problem for you, is a stronghold for them. Now, those are the people you seek out because, hey, I need help here. And goes, okay, good, I can help you there. Oh, you're good here. I need help there. It's like, then you can help one another. And then when you both are able to get rid of your strongholds and sins and get them out of your lives, think of how much uplifting that is. But unless you actually hang out with a congregation of Christians, you're not going to find those people that can help lift you up. You're just going to be bouncing into walls looking like one of those little new little vacuum cleaners, little Roombas. You just bonk, 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 turn around, go the other way, doink, 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 doink. You're just going to be in a box doing the same thing day in and day out. You don't want to do that. Don't want to be that. You got to pray. You need to pray to know where you're weak at and where you're strong at. Always pray. Anyways, I'm going to head and end this lesson here. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm enjoying it. I enjoy reading the Word, sharing the Word, and hey, I learned some new stuff. Raka. That word's going to stay in my head now. Whew. I got a lot of work to do there. And so some of those words I've used quite a bit, still do. I didn't realize how wrong I was. I got to change. We all got to change. We're always working on ourselves. Until we study the Word, we don't really know what all we need working on. So, until next time, God bless, good night, goodbye.